Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where trust, loyalty, and respect are essential to our relationships, whether personal, professional, or societal. However, there are times when people, either out of malice or self-interest, cross the line and their actions reveal something much darker beneath the surface. If someone does certain things, it's not just an act of disagreement or conflict. It's a clear sign that they may want to destroy you. Today, I want to talk about 5 key behaviors that signal this malicious intent. It's important to recognize these actions so we can protect ourselves and our well-being. When someone deliberately spreads false rumors, gossip, or lies about you, it's not just a casual misunderstanding or a simple conflict. It's an intentional attack on your reputation. This kind of behavior is often carried out with the specific aim of tarnishing your image in the eyes of others, and it can be incredibly damaging, both in the short and long term. The goal is to discredit you, to make people question your integrity, your intentions, and your worth as a person. The power of rumors and gossip lies in their subtlety. It's not always easy to pinpoint who started the falsehoods or why they're doing it, but the effects can be devastating. These lies can spread quickly, often far beyond the original source, and once they've been planted in people's minds, it's difficult to undo the damage. People might begin to treat you differently, even if they haven't directly heard the gossip. In the workplace, for example, this could lead to missed opportunities, a lack of trust from colleagues, or even professional setbacks. In personal relationships, it can lead to isolation, miscommunication, and unnecessary conflict, as friends and family members may doubt your actions or motivations without understanding the full story. What makes this kind of attack particularly insidious is that it can often be disguised as something harmless. The person spreading the rumors might frame it as a casual comment or a harmless piece of gossip, but their true intent is much more malicious. They may couch their words in a way that seems like a joke, or they might claim to be looking out for others by sharing the information. However, behind this facade is a calculated attempt to create distrust and division. The person doing this knows exactly what they're doing. They understand that once the seeds of doubt have been planted, they will continue to grow, creating a ripple effect of negativity that is difficult to control. One of the most destructive aspects of this behavior is that it isn't always immediately obvious. Unlike more overt actions, like bullying or physical intimidation, the harm caused by rumors and gossip is often invisible. It doesn't leave physical scars, but it can leave deep emotional wounds. You might find yourself questioning your relationships, doubting your value, and feeling alienated from others. The psychological toll of dealing with a tarnished reputation can be immense, affecting your self-esteem and your mental health. People may treat you with suspicion, distance themselves from you, or even directly confront you with accusations that you know are untrue. This constant strain can be exhausting, and over time, it can make you feel like you're losing control of your own life. Moreover, the impact of a damaged reputation can extend far beyond just those who hear the gossip firsthand. Once a lie has taken root, it can shape how others view you, even if they never heard the rumor directly. Human nature tends to lean towards judgment and assumptions, and once someone believes something negative about you, it's difficult for them to change that perception, even if they later learn the truth. This is why the spread of false information is such a potent weapon in the hands of someone with destructive intentions. It creates an alternate reality, one where your true self is obscured by a cloud of deceit, and you may find yourself fighting an uphill battle to restore the truth. The emotional toll is compounded by the fact that these rumors don't just affect you, they can affect the people who care about you. Friends and family who hear the rumors might begin to question their own trust in you, or they might even feel the pressure to take sides, leading to unnecessary conflict. This divide, which was created intentionally by the person spreading the lies, can cause long-lasting damage to your relationships. The hurt caused by these actions is not just in the immediate impact, but in the ripple effect that can alter your relationships with those around you. Ultimately, the act of spreading lies and gossip is one of the most deliberate and malicious ways someone can attempt to destroy you. It's not a simple disagreement or a matter of differing opinions. It's an attack on your character, and it has the potential to damage your reputation permanently. Recognizing this behavior is crucial, as it allows you to protect your peace, defend your integrity, and take steps to prevent this destructive force from taking hold of your life. When someone actively works against your success or deliberately sabotages your opportunities, it goes beyond simple rivalry or competition. It's a clear act of malice aimed at bringing you down. This type of behavior is often rooted in jealousy, insecurity, or a deep desire to see you fail. The person engaging in this sabotage may try to undercut your efforts in subtle ways, making it appear like a mere coincidence, or they might act more openly to derail your progress. Either way, their goal is the same: to prevent you from reaching your full potential and achieving what you're capable of. This type of sabotage can manifest in a variety of ways, depending on the context. In a professional setting, someone might intentionally withhold important information that could help you complete a project or succeed in your role. They might take credit for your work or ideas, leaving you with nothing but frustration and a sense of injustice. Perhaps they actively spread misinformation about your performance, causing doubt among your colleagues or superiors about your abilities. In a personal context, it might look like a friend or acquaintance encouraging you to make decisions that lead you to failure or setting you up for disappointment. They may push you toward risky behavior or persuade you to abandon your goals entirely, all while claiming to have your best interests at heart. What makes this behavior so insidious is that it's often done behind the scenes, and it can be difficult to prove. The person sabotaging you may act sweet or supportive in front of others, only to later undercut you in ways that leave you wondering if it's all just bad luck or coincidence. This can lead to feelings of confusion and self-doubt as you start to question whether you're the problem or if there are external forces working against you. The sabotage can affect your career, your self-esteem, and your overall sense of stability, and the worst part is that it's often hard to pinpoint who is responsible for the setbacks you experience. In the workplace, the effects of sabotage are particularly damaging because they can not only stall your progress but also affect your professional reputation. If a colleague undermines your work or spreads negative feedback about your performance, it can make others doubt your capabilities. This could result in missed promotions, opportunities, or even job losses. The emotional toll can be severe as well. Feeling like your hard work and dedication are constantly being thwarted can lead to burnout, stress, and a loss of motivation. The constant fear of someone working against you creates an atmosphere of paranoia and makes it difficult to trust those around you. Even in personal relationships, when someone actively sabotages your opportunities or encourages failure, it can cause deep emotional harm. Friends or family members who discourage your goals or make you feel like your dreams are unworthy of pursuing are in effect tearing down your confidence and sense of self-worth. They may play on your vulnerabilities, using guilt or manipulation to make you question your aspirations. Over time, this can lead to a toxic dynamic where you feel constantly disempowered and unsure of yourself, slowly losing the motivation to push forward in life. The nature of sabotage is that it often happens in a way that leaves you isolated, making it harder to find support or understanding from others. If no one else sees the subtle actions being taken against you, it can feel as though you're fighting an invisible enemy. The sabotage may be so cleverly executed that it's difficult to prove, and you may be left with the burden of defending yourself without concrete evidence. This isolation can deepen your frustration and sense of helplessness, as you may feel trapped in a situation with no clear way out. Moreover, the emotional and mental toll of dealing with such sabotage is far-reaching. Over time, it wears you down, leading to anxiety, depression, and a constant state of worry. It can affect your self-esteem and confidence in your own abilities, making it harder to trust your instincts and make decisions. You may find yourself second-guessing your actions, questioning whether you're the problem, and doubting your ability to succeed. This constant erosion of self-assurance can leave you feeling helpless and demoralized. The true harm of sabotage is not just in the immediate setbacks it creates, but in its long-term impact on your outlook and mental health. The constant undermining of your efforts creates a sense of powerlessness, and over time, it can convince you that success is out of reach. The person sabotaging you may not see the full extent of the damage they're causing, but the effects on your life can be profound. It's important to recognize when someone is deliberately working against your success so that you can take the necessary steps to protect yourself and your future. This means setting boundaries, finding support from those who truly have your back, and making sure that you never let the actions of others dictate your worth or your ability to achieve your goals. When someone manipulates your relationships by planting seeds of doubt, spreading misinformation, or deliberately turning people against you, it's not just a betrayal, it's a calculated strategy to weaken your support network and isolate you from those who matter most. Relationships are built on trust, communication, and shared understanding, and when someone actively works to erode these fundamental pillars, it creates a toxic environment where doubt and suspicion thrive. The person carrying out this manipulation might do so quietly, making small, seemingly insignificant comments that, when repeated over time, gradually shift how others perceive you. These subtle actions are aimed at chipping away at the bonds that hold your relationships together, making you feel alone and disconnected. One of the most painful aspects of this kind of manipulation is that it often happens behind your back, and it can be difficult to recognize until the damage is already done. A person who manipulates relationships will often make indirect or passive-aggressive comments about you to others, presenting themselves as concerned or protective, while painting you in a negative light. For instance, they might claim you've been distant or unkind, without offering any evidence to back up their statements. This creates a scenario where people start to question your character or motivations based solely on the distorted narrative presented by the manipulator. The manipulator's goal is not just to plant doubt, but to foster mistrust, making it more likely that others will distance themselves from you, which in turn leaves you vulnerable and unsupported. In personal relationships, this manipulation can be especially damaging. Imagine a close friend or family member suddenly starting to distance themselves from you, behaving coldly or with suspicion, and you can't figure out why. You might find yourself feeling confused and hurt, questioning if you've done something wrong, and trying to piece together what went wrong in the relationship. Meanwhile, the manipulator behind the scenes is telling lies or spreading half-truths, feeding a narrative that ultimately undermines the trust and connection that you once had with that person. This isolation can be incredibly difficult to cope with, as you lose the emotional support you once relied on, leaving you feeling emotionally drained and vulnerable. The emotional toll is deep, as it can feel as though your reality is being distorted, and the people you care about are being pushed away from you by a force you can't control or see clearly. In the workplace, manipulative tactics designed to turn colleagues or superiors against you can be even more destructive. Imagine someone at work spreading rumors about your performance, questioning your work ethic or dedication, or suggesting that you're difficult to work with, all based on lies or misrepresentation. Even if you're completely innocent, the mere act of these rumors circulating can cause others to question your abilities and judgment. Over time, this erodes your professional relationships and your reputation, and it may even limit your chances of advancement. The manipulator might do this in a way that makes it difficult for anyone to confront them directly, leaving you to fend for yourself, while the person continues to sow distrust behind the scenes. It's a quiet form of sabotage, and it can be incredibly difficult to prove or counteract because the manipulator's actions are often framed as innocent, even well-intentioned. The emotional toll of this type of manipulation is devastating because it creates a constant sense of uncertainty. You may start to second-guess your interactions with others, wondering if they are genuinely concerned for you or if they've been influenced by the manipulator. You might feel paranoid, questioning your every word and action, constantly worried that you're being judged or misrepresented. This level of anxiety can interfere with your ability to maintain healthy relationships, as you may become more withdrawn or defensive, fearing that others are silently judging you based on the lies being told. The worst part is that the manipulator often goes unchallenged, leaving you in a state of confusion and helplessness, unsure of how to restore the relationships that have been affected. Even more insidious is the fact that some manipulators will exploit your vulnerabilities to deepen the divide between you and others. They might use personal information you've shared in confidence to twist the narrative or to make others feel that they have a reason to doubt your sincerity. They know exactly what buttons to push to create division, making the situation even more emotionally charged. The people who fall prey to these manipulations may not even realize they've been influenced, and you may find it difficult to rebuild trust once it's been broken. The manipulator has effectively turned your support system against you, and it can feel like an uphill battle to rebuild the trust that has been destroyed. This type of manipulation also takes a heavy toll on your mental health. The constant uncertainty, the feeling of being misrepresented, and the anxiety over who you can trust can lead to stress, depression, and a sense of alienation. You might feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, worried that every word or action will be misconstrued or used against you. The weight of this constant emotional strain can make it hard to focus on anything else in your life, from work to personal goals, and it can create a cycle of negativity that's difficult to break. It's hard to maintain your sense of self when you're constantly second-guessing your actions and wondering if others are seeing you as the manipulator wants them to see you. The deliberate manipulation of your relationships is a powerful tactic used to destroy not just your social connections, but your emotional and psychological well-being. The goal is to isolate you, make you question your own reality, and ultimately leave you with a sense of loneliness and mistrust. Recognizing when someone is manipulating the people around you is key to protecting yourself from the damage they seek to cause. The sooner you can identify this behavior, the sooner you can begin to take action to defend yourself and preserve the relationships that truly matter. When someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, whether they are emotional, physical, or psychological, they are actively trying to diminish your sense of control and autonomy. Boundaries are the invisible lines that we set for ourselves to protect our well-being, ensuring that we maintain a healthy balance between giving to others and preserving our own needs. These boundaries are essential for maintaining our mental, emotional, and physical health, as they define what is acceptable and what is not in our relationships with others. When someone consistently ignores, disregards, or tramples on these boundaries, it's a direct attack on your ability to control your own life and protect your personal space. This persistent violation can lead to feelings of helplessness, frustration, and a gradual erosion of self-worth. At first, boundary violations might seem small or insignificant. Maybe a friend calls you at an inconvenient time, or a colleague expects you to take on extra work without asking. Over time, however, these small intrusions can add up, leading you to feel like your personal space and time are no longer your own. The more someone disrespects your boundaries, the more likely it is that you will start to lose trust in your own judgment and the ability to advocate for yourself. This creates a dangerous cycle, as each violation makes it harder for you to assert your needs and stand up for yourself. In the beginning, you might feel hesitant to speak up, not wanting to cause conflict or upset the other person. However, when these violations continue unchecked, they can lead to feelings of resentment and anxiety, as you begin to feel powerless in the face of someone else's disregard for your needs. What makes this form of disrespect so harmful is that it's often disguised as care, concern, or friendship. A person who regularly pushes your boundaries might frame their actions as wanting to spend time with you, help you, or make you feel comfortable. For example, they may insist on visiting you when you've clearly stated that you need space, or they may repeatedly push for personal information when you've made it clear you're not ready to share. While these actions might seem innocent or well-meaning on the surface, they are actually forms of manipulation that exploit your kindness and your inability to say no. Over time, the constant disrespect of your boundaries can chip away at your sense of self, leaving you feeling like your needs don't matter or that you're not worthy of respect. You may start to doubt your right to set limits and find yourself accommodating others at the expense of your own well-being. The psychological damage of repeated boundary violations is profound. When your boundaries are not respected, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and depression. You may feel as though you are constantly being taken advantage of, and this sense of being overburdened can lead to emotional exhaustion. The stress of being in situations where you feel trapped, unable to assert yourself or protect your needs, can affect your mental health, leaving you in a constant state of tension. You might even begin to question your worth, or feel guilty for having needs and expectations in the first place, which makes it even more difficult to stand up for yourself. The emotional toll can also extend to your physical health. Constant stress and anxiety take a significant toll on the body, leading to headaches, fatigue, or even more severe physical symptoms over time. This cycle of stress, violation, and self-doubt can feel like an endless loop that gradually erodes your confidence and self-respect. In more extreme cases, repeated boundary violations can escalate into emotional or physical abuse. When someone disregards your emotional boundaries, they may manipulate your feelings, gaslight you, or invalidate your experiences. If your physical boundaries are consistently ignored, it can lead to harassment, unwanted touching, or more severe forms of abuse. The longer these violations are allowed to continue, the more entrenched the abusive behavior becomes. The person violating your boundaries might even try to make you feel responsible for their actions, turning the situation around and blaming you for not being accommodating enough or not understanding their needs. This can create an incredibly toxic environment where you feel trapped and powerless, unsure of how to escape or reclaim your autonomy. What started as small, seemingly harmless violations can spiral into a much larger, more damaging pattern of control and manipulation. Ultimately, this disregard for your boundaries is a form of emotional and psychological manipulation, designed to make you feel smaller, weaker, and less deserving of respect. The longer this goes on, the more difficult it becomes to assert yourself and reclaim your space. The violation of boundaries isn't just an occasional mistake, it's a deliberate act of eroding your sense of control and diminishing your sense of self. Recognizing this behavior is essential, as it allows you to take steps toward protecting your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. Without boundaries, you become vulnerable to the whims and desires of others, which can leave you feeling lost and disconnected from yourself. Reclaiming your boundaries is not only important for your own health and happiness, but also for maintaining relationships that are based on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. When someone consistently undermines your confidence, belittles your abilities, or downplays your achievements, it is a deeply harmful tactic designed to break you down emotionally and psychologically. Confidence is the foundation upon which we build our self-worth, and when that confidence is systematically eroded, it can leave us questioning our value, our capabilities, and even our identity. The person who seeks to destroy your confidence does so with a quiet yet powerful intent, aiming to destabilize your sense of self. At first, the actions may seem like innocuous comments or mild criticisms, but over time they accumulate, creating a cloud of doubt that clouds your ability to trust in yourself. This type of behavior can take many forms, whether it's an offhand remark that dismisses your accomplishments or a pointed criticism that highlights your perceived flaws. The person might insist that your success was just luck, or that you didn't really deserve the praise you received. They might downplay your achievements by comparing you to others in a way that makes you feel inferior or unworthy. These subtle forms of undermining often begin as small, seemingly insignificant interactions, but as they continue, they begin to wear down your sense of accomplishment and worth. The more these comments are repeated, the more they start to feel like undeniable truths, and you may begin to internalize these negative perceptions, doubting your own judgment, skills, and potential. The damage done by this constant erosion of confidence is not just immediate, it builds over time, leaving you with a profound sense of self-doubt. You may find yourself second-guessing your decisions, feeling paralyzed by fear of failure, or becoming hesitant to take on new challenges. Over time, these feelings can grow into anxiety and insecurity, as you begin to believe the lies that have been planted in your mind. This internalized doubt can prevent you from pursuing your goals, as you might feel that you aren't capable of succeeding or that others are always judging you. The worst part is that this destruction of confidence is often insidious. It isn't always overt or obvious. The comments may appear to be well-meaning or constructive, but beneath the surface, they are designed to keep you small and unsure of yourself. As a result, you may struggle to trust your instincts or make decisions that align with your true desires, instead seeking external validation from others who may also be influenced by the underminer's narrative. In a more extreme sense, someone who constantly undermines your confidence can create a cycle of dependency, where you feel incapable of succeeding without their approval or guidance. This dynamic can lead to emotional dependency, where you rely on their input to validate your choices and actions, perpetuating the cycle of self-doubt. This dynamic is especially dangerous because it leaves you unable to rely on your own strengths and intuition, ultimately allowing the person who undermines you to control your actions, beliefs, and decisions. Their ability to manipulate your self-perception makes it difficult for you to break free from their influence, as you begin to believe that your value is determined by their opinions and approval. The emotional toll of having your confidence eroded is immense. You begin to question your worth in every aspect of your life, whether in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth. You may feel isolated, disconnected from the things that once brought you joy, and unable to enjoy your accomplishments because you no longer feel that you deserve them. This sense of unworthiness can lead to depression, anxiety, and a pervasive feeling of being stuck, unable to move forward, because the very foundation of your self-belief has been shaken. When someone systematically works to break down your confidence, they are not just targeting your belief in your abilities, they are targeting your very sense of self, aiming to reshape who you are and how you see yourself in the world. Moreover, the constant undermining of your confidence can affect your relationships with others. If you no longer trust your own judgment or abilities, you may find it harder to relate to people around you or seek out healthy, supportive relationships. You may become overly dependent on others for validation, seeking their approval at every turn, or alternatively, withdrawing from social interactions entirely due to fear of judgment or criticism. This isolation can make it even harder to rebuild your confidence because the environment around you becomes more reflective of the insecurities and doubts that have been instilled in you. The longer this goes on, the more difficult it becomes to reclaim your sense of self and to rebuild the confidence that was once the cornerstone of your resilience. In essence, the deliberate and consistent undermining of your confidence is a form of psychological manipulation that can leave lasting scars. It wears you down over time, turning your internal voice from one of encouragement into one of doubt and fear. This tactic isn't just about making you feel bad in the moment, it's about creating a pattern of thinking that clouds your ability to see yourself clearly and to take action with confidence. The person who engages in this behavior is trying to break your spirit, to make you believe that you are incapable, unworthy, or undeserving of success. Recognizing this behavior for what it is, an attempt to weaken you, is the first step in reclaiming your strength and learning to trust yourself again. The journey to rebuild your confidence is not an easy one, but it is essential for protecting your mental and emotional well-being, allowing you to thrive and reach your potential despite the forces that seek to bring you down. When someone deliberately isolates you from your support network, whether friends, family, or colleagues, it's a calculated effort to weaken your resilience and emotional stability. Relationships are essential for maintaining a sense of well-being, providing emotional support, and grounding us in times of difficulty. The people we trust play a significant role in helping us stay connected to ourselves and the world around us. Isolation, however, is one of the most destructive tactics used to destabilize someone emotionally. When someone wants to destroy you, they understand the power of taking away those who care about you, as it leaves you vulnerable, alone, and unable to rely on the support that is crucial for your mental and emotional health. At first, this isolation may appear subtle, small comments or actions that make you question the loyalty or intentions of your friends or loved ones. It could be someone planting seeds of doubt about the people around you, questioning their motives, or suggesting that they don't have your best interests at heart. Over time, this insidious manipulation erodes your trust in others, making you question their actions, their words, or their true feelings towards you. The person isolating you might claim to be your only true ally, convincing you that they are the only one who truly understands or cares about you. This can lead to an unhealthy dependence on the individual who is orchestrating your isolation, as they are the only one left in your world who seems reliable or trustworthy. Gradually, the rest of your support network fades into the background, and you're left with no one but the person orchestrating your downfall. The emotional toll of isolation is immense. Humans are social beings by nature, and when deprived of meaningful connections, we can experience feelings of loneliness, sadness, and despair. The person who isolates you knows this, and uses it as a tool to wear you down emotionally. They know that without the support of others, you are more likely to feel insecure, self-doubting, and vulnerable. Without the feedback, encouragement, or love of others, you can easily start questioning your own perceptions and experiences, which only strengthens their power over you. You may begin to feel like you're trapped in a bubble, where the person isolating you is the only one who has the power to validate your experiences, thus furthering their control over your emotional landscape. The isolation isn't just physical, it also manifests in a sense of emotional abandonment, making you feel as though you are invisible or unworthy of care from others. This type of isolation doesn't just happen overnight, it is often a slow, gradual process that builds over time. The person orchestrating it may begin by sowing discord between you and your closest friends or family members, making subtle remarks that make you question the sincerity of their relationships with you. They might claim that others are jealous of you, manipulative, or untrustworthy. If you start to believe these claims, you may distance yourself from the people who care about you, thinking that they are a threat to your well-being or your relationship with the person who is isolating you. The longer this process continues, the more isolated you become, until you reach a point where you are entirely dependent on the person who has been undermining your other relationships. The more you trust them, the more control they have over you, leaving you unable to see clearly or break free from their influence. As the isolation deepens, so does the emotional manipulation. The person orchestrating might become increasingly possessive or controlling, making you feel as though they are the only person who truly has your best interests at heart. They might accuse you of neglecting them if you try to reconnect with others, making you feel guilty for seeking support elsewhere. In this toxic dynamic, you are made to feel as though any attempt to reach out to others is a betrayal or an abandonment of the one person who is supposedly helping you. This constant guilt trip forces you into a position where you feel like you can't win, no matter what you do. It fosters a sense of confusion and helplessness, as your ability to make independent decisions or trust your own judgment is slowly taken away. The person isolating you may also make it difficult for you to seek help. They might discourage you from talking to others about your relationship, claiming that people won't understand or that they will judge you. In more extreme cases, they may even manipulate the narrative of the relationship so that if you do reach out for help, others believe you are exaggerating or misrepresenting the situation. This further entrenches the isolating behavior, as it becomes more difficult for you to receive validation or support from outside sources. You may find yourself feeling trapped in a relationship that is both emotionally draining and isolating, unable to see a way out because of the manipulation that has been so deeply ingrained in your thoughts and feelings. Furthermore, the consequences of isolation are not limited to your emotional and psychological health alone. Over time, being cut off from your social network can start to impact your physical well-being as well. When you're isolated, it's easier to neglect your own needs, including your health, personal care, and sense of purpose. Without the encouragement and motivation that comes from supportive relationships, you may find yourself disengaging from activities or hobbies that once brought you joy, contributing to a decline in your overall health. The lack of social interaction also has profound effects on your brain chemistry, potentially leading to anxiety, depression, and a general sense of despair. You might feel like you're on autopilot, just going through the motions of life, without the emotional connection to others that gives life meaning and fulfillment. The overall result of this isolation is that it leaves you vulnerable to the manipulator's control. The more disconnected you become from others, the more reliant you become on the person who is isolating you. Over time, this dynamic can erode your sense of independence and self-worth. You may begin to believe that you need the manipulator in order to function, even if their actions are hurting you. The longer this isolation continues, the more difficult it becomes to break free, as the manipulator has established a hold over you that makes it seem impossible to rebuild the relationships that have been torn apart. Isolation is one of the most insidious tactics used to control and undermine someone's mental and emotional state. It works by slowly eroding the support structures that help you stay grounded, leaving you vulnerable to manipulation and emotional exploitation. The more isolated you become, the harder it is to see the manipulation for what it is. This makes it all the more important to recognize the signs of emotional isolation and take steps to protect yourself from individuals who seek to isolate you in order to control you. Your relationships and your emotional well-being are not something that should be exploited or taken for granted. They are the pillars that help you navigate life, and they must be safeguarded from anyone who seeks to tear them down. When someone deliberately disregards your feelings, opinions, or needs, they are actively trying to diminish your sense of self-worth and autonomy. Emotional validation is a crucial aspect of human interaction. It is through the acknowledgement of our emotions, thoughts, and needs that we feel seen, understood, and valued. When a person dismisses or invalidates your emotions, it sends a powerful message that your feelings don't matter, that they are insignificant, or that you are overreacting. This disregard for your emotional experience can have a profound effect on your mental health and overall sense of well-being. The more someone belittles or dismisses your feelings, the more you begin to internalize the belief that your emotions are not valid, which can lead to confusion, self-doubt, and anxiety. The person who dismisses your feelings may do so in a variety of ways, from outright negating your emotions to subtly undermining your reactions. They might say things like, "You're being too sensitive,"
Oh, you're being too sensitive. You're overreacting.
or "It's not a big deal." These types of comments suggest that your emotional response is invalid and that you're somehow wrong for feeling the way. At first, you may try to brush these comments off, but over time, the repeated invalidation can start to take a toll on your confidence and your emotional reactions. You begin to question whether your feelings are justified or if you're just imagining problems where there are none. This internal conflict can be extremely draining and cause you to second-guess your instincts, leaving you less likely to trust your own emotional responses. In more subtle forms, the invalidation might take the shape of gaslighting, where your reality is distorted and questioned. Gaslighting is a psychological tactic in which someone manipulates your perception of events or feelings, making you doubt your memories or emotional responses. For example, if you express frustration about something that's happened, they might deny it ever occurred or tell you that you're just remembering it wrong. This manipulation erodes your confidence in your own experiences, making it more difficult to distinguish between reality and the altered narrative that the person is pushing. Over time, this confusion can make you feel as though you're losing touch with reality, which is exactly what the manipulator wants, to make you more dependent on their version of events and less likely to trust your own perceptions.